It makes me feel good to see the people that came through this program and how well they're doing.
On this day of Thanksgiving, thousands of former high school football players and coaches giving thanks to that man right there. Legendary coach John McKissick died today at the age of 93.
Coach McKissick coached football for more than 6 decades at Summerville High School. Tonight, we look back on the legacy he left both on the field and in the community. When John McKissick first took over as the head coach at Summerville, no one could have predicted it would have been the beginning of one of the most historic coaching runs in the sport's history. McKissick was born in September of 1926 in Greenville, South Carolina. He would go to Kingstree High School before graduating and heading to Brevard College. After a short stint in the Army, he would return to school at Presbyterian, where he graduated in 1951 with a degree in economics. A year later, he arrived at Summerville to lead the Green Wave, and success was something he and his team found early and often. 3 years after his arrival, he won his first state championship and followed that up with another the next season. It would be the start of a run that saw McKissick win at least one state title in each of his first 5 decades. Region titles were almost commonplace at Summerville under McKissick. 37 times in his 63 years with the Green Wave, the team won at least a share of a region championship. Perhaps even more impressive than the amount of winning McKissick did was the lack of losing his teams would experience. Only twice in 63 years, 1957 and 2001, did a Summerville team end the season with a record under 500. By comparison, there were 5 times when his team went undefeated. More state titles would come. 1969, back-to-back in 1978 and 79. Then his most successful run with 4 titles in the 80s, including a three-peat from 1982 through 1984 and again in 1986. Once McKissick reached the 90s, that's when the career milestones started to come. In 1993, he would win his 406th career game, making him the all-time winningest head coach on any level of organized football. That win brought the coach and the school national recognition, but for McKissick, it was just the next win. After what turned out to be his final state title in 1998, McKissick's next career-defining moment came in 2003, when he became the first coach to win 500 games. 9 years later, his 600th win came against one of his former assistants, beating Kenny Walker in Ashley Ridge. 3 times, McKissick has been named the National High School Coach of the Year. He's also a member of the South Carolina Athletic Hall of Fame, the South Carolina Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame, the South Carolina Hall of Fame, and the National High School Hall of Fame. Along the way, McKissick coached thousands of kids in his time in Summerville. Some have gone on to fame in the NFL, like Stanford Jennings or A.J. Green. But maybe the most important number to the legend would have been 3, the number of his grandsons he got to coach with the Green Wave, Richard and Joe Call, and Donnie McElveen. McKissick leaves behind a legacy that'll never be matched, not just of winning games on the field, but for helping to build a community off of it and making sure the kids he coached became a successul part of it.
I've had a great life here in Summerville. I don't think that anybody has had a better career than I've had as far as me enjoying it and living in a place like Summerville.
Now, I've spoken with Coach Call, McKissick's grandson, a couple of times today. He asked me to say that a lot of people have been reaching out asking how his grandmother, Coach McKissick's wife, has been doing. He said she's doing very well. They are very thankful for the prayers and the condolences from everyone who has reached out. He said she's been surrounded by family today, and she even insisted on them having Thanksgiving dinner together earlier this evening. Obviously, this has been a story that has touched a lot of people around the state and the country today. Clemson co-offensive coordinator Jeff Scott saying this afternoon on Twitter, McKissick is, quote, one of the finest men that I've ever had the chance to meet. He impacted tens of thousands of people during his lifetime. We lost one of the true giants in our profession. He will be greatly missed, but his impact will live on for a long, long time. Representative Joe Cunningham tweeting calls McKissick, quote, a low country legend. In short, he was the greatest high school football coach our state has ever seen. Let us all say a prayer for Coach McKissick's family and every student he ever coached and mentored over his 62 years. And in a statement from Fort Dorchester head football coach Steve LaPrade, who worked as an assistant coach at Summerville under McKissick, he says, quote, Coach left a legacy in the town of Summerville. His influence due to the success of the football program on Summerville High School will never be equaled. The town of Summerville just lost a cornerstone. His record on and off the field will never be matched by any other coach. And I also spoke on the phone with another of his former assistants today, Kenny Walker, over at Ashley Ridge. He said the thing that he'll always remember is that when he travels around the country, whenever he tells someone he's from Somerville, South Carolina, they always ask about Coach McKissick and Green Wave football. John McKissick helped put the town of Somerville on the map, and he will be greatly missed. We'll be sure to update you as we receive word of how Coach McKissick's life will be honored.